grip. Storage costs rising, they'll never let me skip. Refunds I'm eating, returns pile up too. Oh, Amazon, what else will you do? I look at my dashboard, my profits erased. My margins are gone, it's a slap in the face. Prime Day's a promise, but it's such a race. How much will I make if I'm replaced? It's a cruel, cruel number. Fees keep climbing, profits torn asunder. Oh, it's cruel. The sellers wonder how to survive when the margins go under. It's a cruel, cruel number. Every month it's something new to plunder. Oh, it's cruel. It's no wonder we're stuck in this game. The algorithm's thunder.
Yo, Amazon's back, and they got a new scheme. Reimbursement slashed, it's every seller's dream. They're digging deep, taking more from the pot. Let's break it all down, expose what they got. March 25, it's a policy drop. They say manufacturing costs, but we know it's a flop. Give us your cogs, they're demanding the price. But if you don't, they'll estimate nice. Nice for them, not for you. Watch a payout shrink. That comprehensive evil is a corporate wing. Lost in the warehouse, damaged on the floor. Now they pay you pennies, not a cent more. Fees on the rise, profits on the run. They don't lift a finger, but they pocket the fun. We're fair! They shout while they cut our shares. Amazon math, man, it's full of errors. Fees, taking our dough. They're stacking the deck, and it's sellers who owe. Reimbursements? Nah, they're taking us down, but we're still here, we don't mess around. Fees, straight to the top. Amazon's game, it'll never stop. Margins tight, but we keep the grind. Sellers unite, we're one of a kind.
I try to sell my product on Amazon, thought it'd be a breeze. But little did I know I'd be stuck with seller support disease. They never seem to solve my problems, just give me the runaround. I'm tired of waiting on hold. My patience is wearing thin, I'll never be found. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck. Can't get no satisfaction. I'm out of luck, out of luck, out of luck. You don't care about my business, just trying to make a buck. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck.
This one's for the sellers on the grind, getting left on red, wasting all their time. I hit up support, got an auto reply. Thanks for your patience, man, I wanna cry. Inventory lost, my margins are toast. Reps playing tag like the Casper the Ghost. They pass me around, it's a never-ending game. Nobody takes action, everybody shifts blame. My ASIN's down, I'm out of the race. They say they'll escalate, yo, what a disgrace. Amazon seller support, you're breaking my heart. No answers, no fixes, just tearing me apart. Hours in the queue, stuck in the dark. Amazon seller support, you're missing the mark.
Amazon game plan, that is the key. Seller Central dashboard, that's where I be. Analyze the funnel, see what we lack, then we optimize. Sellers know it's a fact. I get it poppin', you know that it's lit. Climbing the rankings, ain't no room to quit. I check the data, they notice the stats. I keep the method, that's how you adapt. Metrics are showing, you know it's our cap. Amazon sellers, it's time to react. I'm about that action, I do this with passion. I got them like, whoa, what is this? Huh, whoa.
I don't know, dude. I think everybody's just buying stuff based on reviews and badges or whatever. They don't even know who we are. These customers don't even know the name of my brand. But they keep clicking add to cart like it's part of the plan. They see that Amazon badge and think it's all grand. But yo, they don't even know the name of my brand.
Click, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell a day. Now listen up, I'm Steven Pope, Amazon guru, I'll help you cope. Step 1, get that trademark stamped. Without brand registry, your Amazon cramped. Head to Seller Central, log in quick. sellers tab, yeah, that's the trick. Upload your logo, flex that style. You're about to make Jeff Bezos smile. Where pick a template, marquee or grid. Drop your tiles like a branding whiz. Hero image, big and bold. This store's gonna glitter like digital gold. Flex, grow, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell today. Yo. In the trenches of the Amazon game, trying to survive while it's driving me insane. Nobody warns you, they just claim it's passive income. Nah, it's pain. I'm sitting at a birthday, laughing, chilling, next to a newbie Amazon seller spilling. She's like, Prime's so smooth, it's a killer. Then tried to sell, now she's stuck in a thriller. Finding products, yeah, that's the first grind. Scrolling Alibaba, losing my mind. Sample suck, manufacturers decline. I'm like, dang, how's anyone doing this fine? Ship it in, pay for the bubble wrap, but they ship glass bottles in padded crap. Now I got hot sauce leaks, refund stacked, customers pissed. Man, I'm under attack. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Trademark wars, brand registries a scam. They banned my brand, now I'm in a jam. Listings yanked, products ranked and tanked. Lost dogs in the catalog, my account shanked. Now let's talk ads, it's a rabbit hole. 1,000 hours deep, man, it's taking my soul. Weekly negations, bulk sheets for control. Excel's my new weapon, but it's taking its toll. SEO's no joke, keywords in the game. All text, A+ content, playing insane. Lifestyle shots, avatars for fame, but the CTR's low, all products look the same. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, from SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Let's go to Mac School. To Mac School. Class is now in session with Professor Pope. They got the SAP, cause Professor Pope wrote the recipe. Helping Amazon sellers grow sales exponentially. Amazon's a jungle, but we map the strategy. Brand strategist playbook, it's a guide to victory. Troubleshooting catalog, you know we got the answer key. Boosting all your rankings, turning sales into a legacy. SOB so deep, you think we studied at Mac School. Every step we follow leads to growth, yeah, it's a golden rule. Stuck on keywords, we'll find the ones that work the best. Using Helium-10, strike distance keywords past the test. Incremental indexing ensures the listing's set to rise. From the back end to the bullets, optimization hits the skies. Brand store creation, yeah, we make it shine and flow. A+ content design makes conversions overflow. Need your images on point, best practices in the plan. All text and photo rules ensure your visuals command. SEO meets PPC, it's balanced, every step aligned. We'll construct the MKLs that drive rankings over time. Budget caps and bid adjustments, no more wasted spending. Segmentation builds campaigns that sellers can defend. Got a hijacker, no problem, we'll file to take them down. Review requests in action, 5-star ratings come around. Flat file updates, market share reports, it's all in reach. Professor Pope wrote the SOP so sellers learn and teach. Meanwhile, my Amazon guys on the case, fixing up my problems at lightning pace. Ticket escalations, Mag's the boss. Even Amazon says we'll take the loss. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. They're supposed to be the pros, but they can't decode policies and tools from their own damn road. I'm paying fees, yet they bring me stress. But Mag turns my chaos into pure success. Seller support reps, they throwing shade, but then admit, yo, Mag will get you paid. Third-party agency taking the throne while Amazon fumbles in their own damn zone. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. So here's the truth, let's keep it real. Mag's the team with the pro-level skill. Amazon sellers, you know the vibe when support says call Mag. They'll give you peace of mind. Amazon seller support, you can suck my image stack. Sucking is all you're good at anyway. Bezos, hit me up if you want to sell seller support. I'm buying. There's a Jace. Peace.
Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking about pay-per-click advertising, how you can maximize your results, because we are Oh my gosh, less than 2 weeks away from Black Friday. Cyber Monday is also right around the corner. Less than 2 weeks away too. Oh my gosh. Clock is ticking. We better get our ad campaign set up and ready to go. Well, the good news is we will help you with that. The bad news is time is running out, which means this is becoming a more and more critical discussion we're going to be having here today. So my name is Kevin Sanderson from My Amazon Guy. If you have been to one of these before, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. Super excited to have you here. So a little bit about the format is we will be taking your questions. I already have a decent number of questions already coming in. So thank you to that, to many of regular names I see on there. So welcome back, folks. And if you have a question, the best thing to do is ask it now, because what ends up happening is people will wait to ask their question until like towards the end. So we'll be going for about an hour. So that means at about 1 o'clock Eastern time, I'm looking at my watch, like, my watch is somehow connected to StreamYard. But either way, we're going to be answering your questions for about an hour. Once we run out of time, we run out of time. And oftentimes it happens, we run out of time and I don't get to everyone's question. So I want to answer your question. So the best thing to do is ask it now, because this has kind of a life of its own. As more people jump in, more people start asking questions. It prompts people who have been watching. Oh, I also have this other question. Then the streams. So whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, some other doesn't even really have an icon. But either way, we have people watching on all kinds of different platforms and channels. And what will happen is, as more people ask questions, those platforms will send more people to the stream. So there's more people to ask questions. So point being is, if you want to get your question answered, ask it now. If you're afraid of looking silly, I can promise you, you won't, because this is the thing. You'll ask a question that probably someone else was thinking of asking or didn't think to ask, and they will be impressed that you asked it. So you'll be helping not just yourself, but others. And a rising tide here will lift all boats. So hopefully you get some value from the questions other people ask, but then also you get some value from asking a question yourself. So I'm just kind of curious today, where's... we'll do the emoji thing. I do that from time to time. So if you don't mind, use an emoji to describe your current state of pay-per-click advertising results. Now, I understand we're 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away. We're like a week and a half away from Thanksgiving, a week and a half away from Black Friday. So what that usually means is there's a lot of people just clicking around. They're not buying stuff. They're just curious. What do I get little Johnny? What do I get my wife? What do I get whatever? What do I get my, mother? People are asking themselves these questions, so they're doing research. Research involves clicking. And sometimes as a seller, we're like, what? I won't click on that because that's sponsored and I don't want to charge them. Whereas customers don't care. They click on whatever they think might be something they want to find out more about. So with that, again, if you could drop an emoji, which today I need my glasses, drop an emoji to let us know the current state of your Amazon pay-per-click advertising results. And then we'll start getting into some questions. So we've got lots of people already asked questions, but not many people have given an emoji. So I'm going to say this is last call for that. There might be a little bit of a delay depending on where you're watching. And if you're watching 100% live, or if you backtrack to the beginning. So that is some sort of crying emoji. So Deepak, I like that. So Deepak, if you'd like, email podcast@myamazonguy.com and let us know that Kevin promised you a free any mag school course valued at $100. So that's $100 value in your pocket. Well, in a coupon code format, and then you just put that into wherever. But that is coming to you, and all you got to do is email podcast, singular, not plural, podcast @myamazonguy.com. So then we've also got Thomas is biting his teeth, I guess, in anticipation. The anticipation is running rampant here. Because what's this holiday season going to be like? There's lots of anxieties. Like if you guys are anything like me, like right now, I'm having trouble sending, and I know other people are too, sending certain products in because I have too much based on the last 90 days. Hello, we're going into the holiday season. The algorithm is able to know what I've sold in the past for this particular ASIN. Why am I not able to send it in? Or some products I have are Christmas themed. Yes, of course, in October, September, and August, it didn't sell well. In the last 90 days was not doing great because Christmas stuff sells well the last part of November and the month of December. So the anticipation with bated breath. Thomas, you also get a free mag school course valued at $100. Just email podcast@myamazonguy.com. Just say, Kevin promised me. Kevin promised. Vidushi says, I guess that's a hello. You had me at hello. Kenny Chesney song. And then, that was also a line in, what was that movie? Jerry Maguire. You had me at hello. All right. And then Tony Lionel 6275. Were you born June 2nd, 1975? Happy 50th birthday, if that's the case. Well, belated. Game over. That doesn't sound good. Hopefully you've hit the reset button and maybe it's not the whole game is over, but at least you're doing something to figure out, what do I do next? So maybe the game you were playing is over, but you're not totally out of the game. So it's more of hitting the reset button. So Vidushi and Tony Lionel, you guys can also email podcast@myamazonguy and just let them know Kevin promised you a free mag school course valued at $100. So let's get into the Q&A. And again, if you have questions, drop them into the chat, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and somewhere else. I don't even know what it is because the icon, little icons, shows you what is what. The icon is like generic. Anyway, Surge 390 says, how often do you optimize placements? When you change placement percentage, how do you adjust the base bid? Do you adjust the placement percentage and keyword base bids together in one step or separately? All right. So good question. So as we all probably are familiar, those who aren't, if you're doing placements, you're doing a bid modifier. So you're saying, I'm willing to bid an extra 20%, 100%. I think it lets you go up to 400% of whatever it is. So keep in mind, if you are bidding $1 and you say, I will put 100% modifier, that means you're bidding $2 for top of search, rest of search, product placement, whatever. So keep in mind, you can make changes in both places, but they will have an effect. So if you're like, oh, this keyword's not doing as well. So the keyword, maybe you lower the bid to 80 cents from $1, but you take your bid modifier and say, overall, it's doing good. So let's go to 150%. Now, gotta use my calculator here. 150% times 0.8 is $1.20. Whereas if I was doing $1 bid and I was doing 100, no, it would be 2. So it'd be $2. So you would, in that case, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, so if you did, 100, let's say 150%, so it's 2.5 times 0.8 is you're now bidding $2. So either way, in my example there, without realizing it, either scenario, your bid is $2. So you may think you're lowering your bid, but because you increase the modifier is all encompassing of everything in that campaign, all keywords, all ad groups, all everything, then you would not be saving the money. So just keep in mind, when you change the modifier, you're changing it for everything. So just know that as you're making, you can still make bid adjustments at the keyword level, which I still think is a good idea. But they would be you'd be changing 2 variables. Sometimes it's better just to change 1 variable at a time to see how things go. If placements is something you're really focused on, but I don't do placements a lot. I'm not as big of a fan of them. Sometimes it's like you get better deals at lower placements. It's worth testing, but just because there's more people clicking on the first one at the top of the page, those are oftentimes window shoppers too. So just keep that in mind. Deepak says, we humbly await thy grand arrival. Wow, that's quite the statement there. That was from before we got started here. So, to impart thine infinite wisdom upon us, and to grace thy most cherished with Christmas account audits and those divine mag courses and socks, of course. Wow, very nice. So very good. So I'm glad to help you out. So I did give out people that participated when I asked a couple of mag school courses, but I will be still giving out answers. So next up, also from Deepak, this is now a question. What are your expectations with a new launch, i.e. how much CTR and CVR to expect initially, a month from launch, 3 months from launch, and are there any general guidelines to follow? So a lot of it is, quite honestly, it depends. So if you're selling a product that's relatively, and keep in mind, right now, everything is, as I was a little bit harping on earlier, we're in window shopping mode. Like right now, PPC is a little bit more expensive this week and going into next week before Thanksgiving, because they're not sure what to buy yet. Like, oh, what do I get? Oh, they might like this. I don't know. Maybe they want the red one instead. Oh, let's click on, oh, this is green. Oh, but this brand, they got a better whatever. You know, people are just, they're not in, oh my gosh, I better buy Christmas stuff now mode. They're in, got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I tell myself that every year. And then I'm like, oh my God, I am running out of time. So right now they have plenty of time. So if you're launching right now, in 1 month, you have urgency on your side, and people are like, oh my goodness, I better not buy now if I want to get the gifts to arrive before Christmas. So that's two different stories. Now, in evergreen land, where you're not talking about a seasonal product and you're not talking about the holiday season, a lot of it is still going to depend on the product and how much research goes into it. So if you are selling a wireless lavalier mic, people probably do a little bit more shopping. So your click-through rate and conversions, you might have a decent click-through rate, but your conversion rate might be lower. I would say, if you can shoot for a 0.5 to 1% click-through rate. And remember, everything looks great on a spreadsheet until you get punched in the mouth. I think Mike Tyson said that. Everything is great on a spreadsheet. Everyone has a plan on a spreadsheet until they get punched in the face. It was more of a boxing analogy. Didn't talk about spreadsheets, but the key of it is, like, if you're buying this, you're probably doing more research than if you're buying a tape measure. Like, this is a very utility thing. Like, oh, okay, it's got good reviews. It's 25 feet long. It looks sturdy. It's Stanley. It's a name brand. Add to cart. I'm not going to overthink this. Buy it. That's what people do. So when you're talking about whatchamacallit, the products that people do more research on, your click-through rate is going to be lower. So this one, I would want to have at least a 10+% conversion rate on. This one, I'd probably be happier with a 5 to 8%. And again, some of it you're just going to figure out as time goes on. And you're not going to get a ton of impressions, and they might not be in favorable real estate when you first launch, because you have a little bit of a chicken and egg problem. You need impressions to get sales, but to get the impressions, you need sales. So impressions lead to sales, but sales lead to impressions. So which came first, the impression of the sale, the chicken or the egg? No one knows. Well, you just got to get sales. So you prime that pump, that flywheel, you get it going with sales. And so the algorithm will also better understand what products, or what keywords, I should say, what searches to associate your products with. And because they're looking to figure out for a customer, what is the customer looking for? Because Amazon does not care who gets the sale. They just want to know that the customer searches for this and we get sales. So Amazon's just basically saying to themselves, we've got X number of impressions. On the other side of those impressions, when they have to go to their boss at the end of the quarter, did the algorithm feed people what they wanted because they voted for their wallet and bought, or they didn't? And that's the ultimate thing there. So if you're more likely to get a click, which leads to a sale, then you're more likely to get an impression. So I know that's a long-winded answer and you were looking for specific benchmarks, but like a lot of things in Amazon e-commerce and PPC, it depends. So this one here, next question. Changed my Paranase in 9 days into the launch to stack reviews from an old out-of-stock product in the same category. It worked, but when I visit the Vine launch page, it still shows the old parentage. Cause for concern. I would say you're probably going to need to do Vine anyway. Some screens and some pages just show different data for no explainable reason. It's a very, very deep and elaborate database that I don't think anyone truly knows. And different reports and different screens pull data from different places. I mean, for what it is, it's extremely well organized. But also there's exceptions where sometimes it doesn't make sense. So should you be concerned? I don't know that it means it's a precursor to something else, like they're coming after you, if that's what you're worried about. But it's probably at least worth knowing that eventually your loophole will probably close of having an old out of stock product that's hopefully in the same category, but maybe it's not truly a child variation. It sounds like that might eventually get pulled off, and that the catalog team goes through and does all the time. And you might argue to have it added back on if it truly can be argued is a true variation, like the blue cup and the red cup. Now, if you try to say like, oh, this is this one cup too. Well, no, they're both cups, but different sizes, totally different product. So just keep that in mind. All right. Next up, Vidushi says, hi, Kevin. We wanted to test out a few products for FBA. We're mainly FBM. Sometimes performed, some didn't. Now the situation is the holiday season is here. We want to ship our best sellers as FBA, but the ones that didn't perform in Amazon warehouses were the best sellers as FBA, but the ones that didn't perform are in Amazon warehouses. Does running promotions for the excess inventory work in coming days? Some don't even have any sales. Goes back to that old chicken and egg problem. You're going to need impressions to get sales. If you're not getting sales, you're probably not getting a lot of impressions. Sometimes lowering the price works. You may want to try a brand tailored promotion on those. Maybe run a coupon. But if you have stuff that's in Amazon's warehouse and you're like, I'm paying a ton, and guess what? It's like 3-4x this time of year. I'm always like, it's like painful when all of a sudden you see your account balance go down because you realize you just got hit towards the beginning of the month with that FBA fee for inventory storage and long-term storage and all that fun stuff. They just keep getting you. But with that, you sound like you have a chicken and egg problem here. So potentially try lowering the price. And I believe by lowering the price, you're also triggering the algorithm to kind of do somewhat of a test. So it's not going to be like, okay, great, let's just throw tons of impressions at it, but it's going to increase the number of impressions. There was some white paper / someone from Amazon's algorithm team years ago had done a talk at like some sort of developers conference about the algorithm, and it talked about a hunger score, meaning the certain variables happen that trigger the algorithm to realize it has a need or a hunger for more data. So it starts weighting things a little differently. I'm not explaining it as well as this person, of course, was. Excuse me. But the gist of it is that if you lower your price, Amazon's algorithm is kind of running little tests to see like, oh, okay, well, there's something's different. So maybe we put a few impressions behind it. So sometimes it's also better just to lower the price or run a promotion or both if you're not getting sales on that product, because it could be more expensive to keep it in Amazon's warehouse, or used to be, it would be fairly dirt cheap to do removal orders. And you could just do for a product that's not selling, you just do a removal order and pull stuff out of the warehouse. But also keep in mind, with the holiday season, sometimes you still make sales. So if you're talking about like you have a container load of product, maybe you want to get a little aggressive. If you have 20 units and the holiday season is right around the corner, maybe you can sell out of those between now and the holidays. But I would definitely mark December 23rd, which is a Tuesday. If you're in the office, go through and just ruthlessly start doing either liquidation orders or removal orders, or even more drastically lower the price on those products that aren't moving at all and get them out of the warehouse. Because at least during the holiday season, yes, you're paying extra, but if you can at least tell yourself like, okay, for the next week, if we lower our price, can we start getting sales? Yes, maybe we give up some margin, but we're also not going to be paying for another month or two of Q4 storage fees, which are expensive. All right, next up, Abanoob says, I wish I was able to watch this episode live, but I'm in my way to get to the train and watch it while moving. Oh, can't watch it while moving. Well, sorry to hear that. Always a pleasure to have you joining us. So if you're watching the replay, Abanoob, I hope your train ride was comfortable and it got you there on time without any concerns. All right. So everybody watching, if you have questions, drop them into the chat and be more than happy to answer your questions. I have plenty of questions queued up. In my experience, as we go longer into this, people start asking more questions. So I can't always get to everyone's question before the top of the hour. So we have like another 38-ish minutes at the time I'm speaking. So I will do my best to get to as many as possible. But if you ask your question now, it's more likely to get answered than if you ask it at like 10 till, because you're like, oh yeah, I did want to ask that. Just throw it in the chat. Just do it. Nice and easy. Doesn't matter. It works well basically wherever you're watching. Oh, sorry, I skipped a question. Numan Shakur says, I have a new product. Competitors have pretty enough reviews. Should I continue to spend on PPC to try to get reviews and then spend on... or try to get reviews. So spend PPC now or get more reviews and do PPC later. So there's so many chicken and egg problems on Amazon. So just as I said, you need sales to get impressions and you need impressions to get sales. Well, if you want reviews, you have to have buyers. In order to get buyers, you have to have sales. So sales leads to more buyers who are able to give you a review. The more reviews, the more potential buyers you have, because people are like, oh, this product doesn't have 2 reviews. It has 23. They don't really think of it in those terms, but it just, the more reviews you have, the more credibility is lent to the product. But I wouldn't overly worry about reviews. Personally, I believe I've had products that have made decent sales with 1 1-star review. Sometimes that'll slow things down if that happens. But sometimes you just get the luck of the draw and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get a 1 star here? That happens. Or you have 3 reviews and you're like, I want to get to 10. Just run PPC. Because 1, you might as well get more data, more sales, which if you're finding PPC is more expensive right now, it's because we're in window shopping season where people are just clicking around stuff like crazy on Amazon. They're not buying like they will in a few weeks. So just keep that in mind. Should I continue to spend? So yeah, so to answer your question more directly, just keep spending on PPC as long as it's profitable. Make optimizations, do negations, adjust your bids and budgets as necessary. More bids than budgets, in my opinion. And then, get that data, get more customers. More customers ideally will lead to more reviews. And best of luck with you. All right. Next up, Vidushi says, which campaigns usually have lower CPC? I would say the ones that are most relevant. Most relevant that you were able to show up for and get sales. So ultimately, if you think about it, which campaigns have lower CPCs? I was thinking ACOS. But it's still kind of the same thing. If you are selling a white tumbler and you're like, a lot of people are searching for calculator, so I'm going to bid $7 on calculator. You'll never show up. You can bid all day long, but you're not going to show up for calculator because it's not relevant. But if you say white Bucky's tumbler, it's a brand name, so don't sell Bucky's tumblers without permission from Bucky's. But if you say white Bucky's tumbler, very specific, you're going to have a low CPC just because Amazon's going to let you bid lower. Now, I believe all advertising, it's some way, shape, or form, is CPM, meaning cost per milli, cost per 1,000 impressions. And some people might be saying, no, we're bidding on a click. You're bidding on a click. But Amazon cares how much revenue are they getting for the 1,000 impressions they give you. So I believe that's part of it. So if you're getting clicks and you're getting sales, then you're going to show up more. And if the more sales you get, the better you convert, the better your click-through rate is. It's going to lower your CPCs because of every 1,000 impressions they give you, you have more sales happening. Then it's worth it to Amazon to give you more bites of the apple, more impressions at a lower cost per click. So there's things people do sometimes with like, okay, I'm going to do an auto campaign and run it for like 20 cents and, try to get some impressions from when some other advertisers run out of budget at the end of the day, or they're doing day parting, and I'm going to show up at times that other people aren't, get some potential cheap sales. You could try that as well in some campaigns. But if you think about it, it's all an auction and what is going to get the most likely to a sale. And I also believe the more you restrict the algorithm saying, I only want to go for this exact phrase, I want, white Bucky's tumbler, rather than go for the broad version, white Bucky's tumbler, because then somebody could search for white Bucky's tumbler for men and they have more ability to place where they want to place. You kind of get a little bit of a discount for that. Not all the time, but frequently. And then doing auto campaigns, sometimes you get a discount too, just because you're saying, Amazon, just give me sales, give me clicks, give me sales, and make it happen. And oftentimes those can be lower. So if everyone is going after that exact phrase as an exact match, oftentimes that jacks up the price. So it's a mix of auction and a mix of relevancy. So hopefully that helped. All right. Next up Is it normal for people to not buy in weeks leading up to Black Friday? I've probably mentioned this 4 or 5 times on this live stream, which this question's from like 25 minutes ago. But yes, it is very normal because people are in research mode. They don't know what they want to get. In marketing, doesn't matter if you're online or whatever, your most powerful tool is time. Time is running out, I should say. The more time is running out, the closer you are to a deadline, the more people get off their tuchus and take action. And so right now, there's no rush. I'm just trying to figure out, what am I going to get? Whoever. That's what people are thinking. They're just clicking around. They're looking at stuff. They should still be buying something. Like, your sales generally are going to be higher this week than they would be in mid-September, but you're still going to have a lot of window shoppers. So if you have no sales, that's probably a problem. So hopefully that helped you. All right. Mohammed says, hey, Kevin, hope you're doing great. Yeah, I am doing great, and I hope you are too. How are you looking at PPC in 2026? More expensive or less reliable when it comes to scaling brands on Amazon, specifically brands related to essential oils? Okay. 2 things. In general, you've probably heard it said before. 2 things you can't get away from: death and taxes, which hopefully saying the D word didn't hurt us in the algorithm. But that's not what I'm talking about. YouTube algorithm, if you're listening. You can't get away from certain things. Rising costs with ads are generally going to be a thing. So as it becomes more and more competitive on Amazon, everybody's trying to get a competitive advantage. More and more people are spending on ads. So as I was saying before in a previous question, it's an auction. So people are bidding up. Amazon is running out of more placements they can add. And then also going into 2026, there's a recent video on this channel that Stephen Pope, our founder, put out. And he talked about at Unboxed, the recent Amazon ads conference that Amazon themselves puts on. They talked about how they, what's the word I'm looking for? They're launching a new video ads. You might be thinking, there's video ads all over the place. They want to put video ads and sponsored products placements. So if you think about that, there's a ton of sponsored products placements. They've added more over the years than there were a while back, but now there's so many sponsored products placements, they can't just keep making everything ads. So now they're adding in new ways that you can get that. So over time, they're probably going to give more space to video ads. So you probably do need to figure the video ad out part. We all do. So that means there's going to, in essence, be less placements for just regular sponsored products. Meaning, I bid in this keyword and it just looks like an organic placement, other than in small gray letters somewhere it says sponsored. So when it comes to essential oils, yeah, you're going to have that issue too, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of video ads that people have, some better than others, but ones that focus on the product and the product solving a need, solving a problem for people are going to do better than ones that just, are cute and well produced. So keep that in mind. So it's going to become more expensive and less reliable, maybe. But remember, all ads do is give you impressions. So you have to be the one to figure out, how do I make my ad or my listing more clickable? Do I need to update my main image? You have to be the one to figure out the conversions. Now, here at MAG, we strongly believe, based on what we see, that it is easier to increase click-through rate. I was trying to get that whole phrase in. Increase click-through rate it's easier to improve your traffic, increase your click-through rate, than it is to improve your conversion rate. It's like, messing with all these little dials. Which one do you go after? So if you're not sure which problem do you have, solve click-through rate. How do you get better click-through rate? Better click-through rate is going to have better cost per click, because if more people are clicking who are eventually going to buyers, you're going to have lower cost per click, lower A costs, all that. So that's the best thing to get in front of, is to focus on your cost per click. All right, next up, Deepak says, I've already gotten 3 courses off live streams. Now I fear I will be ignored if I ask for more courses at Mag Office. I've given away quite a few. And sometimes you never know what I'm going to give free courses for. And that was earlier when I asked people to give an emoji. So if anything, Deepak is giving us a testimonial of how much we give away in free courses. So it sounds like Deepak has gotten $300 of free courses from these live streams or other things like it. So thank you for sharing that. But just participate specifically when I ask, because you never know when we're going to give stuff away. All right. Muzamil Khan says, bring it on, holiday season. Dude, I'm in agreement. Like, let's just do this. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, why do we have to wait another week and a half? Let's just do it. Well, actually, I still want to send more stuff in, and I've got some last minute preparations. So there's that too. All right. Deepak says, launch an evergreen decor item 10 days back, non-seasonal products, although I'm getting clicks, but no conversion, which is freaking me out. I hope they start converting during sales, I guess holiday shopping season. Sometimes that happens, and you might have some of the wrong keywords you're going after. You might have to pause some of those keywords. Clicks with no sales don't help you. No, don't be one of those people that's like, oh my God, I got 5, 6, 7, 8 clicks. Get rid of it. No, give it some time, because you might have, let's say 20 clicks, and then the 19th and the 20th click each get a sale. And maybe the 20th click actually gets you a sale where someone buys 2 units. Things can turn around quickly. Now, once you have sufficient data, like if your conversion rate you're hoping for is, let's say 10%, then that's 10 clicks for every 1 sale, or 8% conversion rate is about 12.5 clicks to get a sale. So let's just call it 12 or 13 clicks. So you need 12 clicks to get a sale, basically. If you double that and you still haven't gotten a sale, you've given it sufficient time. So either drastically lower the bid if you think there's still a chance, but don't get emotionally attached to keywords. That's one of my things. And that sounds silly. Like, who gets emotionally attached to keywords? Let's be honest. We all do. No, I know this keyword's going to convert. I looked in Cerebro and all the competitors, they're ranking for it. Well, maybe they have 1,000 reviews and we have 2 or none. So when you're first launching, you don't have the dynamics and the sales history of other products. Sometimes you just have to kind of take what you get and let the data speak for itself. So again, everything works on a spreadsheet until you get out there. All right. Mohammed says, what strategies should we have for a new product launch? Started ads, competitor bid related products on high bids, $3 and $4 a click. Now, at the end of the day, $3, $4 a click isn't bad if you're selling a $150 product and you have, good click-through rate and good conversion rate. So if you have a 8% conversion rate, for example, that means 12 or 13. So let's pick the high end here. Let's say 13 clicks to get a sale. Let's pick the high end of $3, $4 a click. That means 13 times 4, that is $52 cost per acquisition. If you're selling a $30 product, that math ain't mathin'. If you were selling a $300 product, that's not bad to say 52 divided by 300. That's 17% ACOS. It's not bad. So you have to kind of do the math a little bit to figure out, like, okay, is it worth to spend extra? Now, sometimes your competitors are bidding $3, $4, but they have good click-through rate. They have better main images. They have better sales history. They have more reviews. Everything about it is just better, but you're still figuring it out and you're getting better, but you're not ready to bid $3-4. So maybe you're better off bidding $1 or $2. Don't worry about what the competitors are doing, especially when you first start out with a new product launch. You just need sales and you need data. And the algorithm needs to understand where to position your product and who's buying. And you have to also ask yourself, how comparable are these competitors? Like, are they truly apples to apples? Almost to a point, if someone was to take my tape measure and their tape measure and put them next to each other and not know the difference, or it's like, still somewhat differentiated, but it's basically solving the same problem, and not, they've got a tape measure or I've got a tape measure, but they have like a tool set with a tape measure in it. So the tool set is probably selling for a higher price. It's not apples to apples. Or one of my favorites is dry erase marker. I'm like, what is this thing called again? A dry erase marker. A dry erase marker and markers, just the term markers. You might think a Sharpie is your competitor, but it's not. They're both markers, but they serve two completely different purposes. And if you look at the searches for markers or permanent markers, it's going to be very different than dry erase markers. So you have to ask yourself, in that spectrum I just described, are your competitors you're looking at truly your competitors, or are they just similar-ish products? Like, they're both markers, but is there a differentiating factor? Maybe not as drastic as permanent marker or dry erase marker, which, if you put a permanent marker on a dry erase board, it's not bad things happen. You're going to be spending a lot of time trying to get that marker off, or just have to buy a new dry erase board. So you have to just think, like, for your customer, is there some sort of mental differentiation, even if it's just in their head? And you have to ask that outside of your own. Yeah, but I know, I'm confident it's the same, but maybe it's not. All right. Next up, Thomas says 1 out of 2 here. How to best manage PPC budget for products that already rank high organically, but want to defend against lower priced, cheap competitors. Not sure in the best placements, ad types, etc. All right. So let's answer that question first before we get to the other question. So basically, your question, didn't mean to making a bunch of noise grabbing my glasses. Your question is about, you're doing well organically. You want to defend that, because the more sales these other competitors get, it's not great. Now, some people will say, I don't want to be top of page 1 and, stealing my organic, because maybe you're towards the top of page 1, you're on the first organic row or whatever. Does it really matter where you get the sale at some point, especially for certain keywords, if they're doing really well? You may want to at least try to defend that territory, especially if this is a branded keyword. Now, if this is a branded keyword, go all out. Do not let your competitors. That's why half the time, like, for example, if you go on Google and you Google whatever, there's a very good chance that whatever you're Googling, especially if it's a big name company or whatever, the first thing you see is their ad before you see the organic placement, because they're trying to keep out their competitors from showing up. And on Amazon, the same strategy works there. So I would definitely say, you want to, if you're doing well organically, defend that placement, because that's not in stone. That is a privilege, not a right. So other things you could do is on the page, if you have other similar products, like on your listing, you want to also go after product placements, like have ads for those ASINs going to that other ASIN. Then you also want to potentially do sponsored display, targeting that ASIN. So that way you're starting to take up some of the real estate from potential competitors. So I would do it both in search and I would do it in the listing, which is definitely, I think you're on the right track based on the way you asked that question. Oh, no, but as far as like best placements, ad types, all the above. Defend that territory. And worst case scenario, someone clicks on one of your other products and buys it and it's not as good of a product. Well, you're still funneling people to your product as opposed to someone clicks on your competitor's ad because your ads weren't showing up in their way. And then they go buy that product and you get nothing. So that would be my thought process there. And then products very closely tied to cold weather and can change drastically daily with winter storms. Yes. Here in Florida, it was like 44 at this time last week. Well, not all day, but like in the morning. And, 44 Fahrenheit in Florida. I'm surprised they didn't close everything down because it's just too cold. No one knows what to do. Whereas some parts of the country, unless it's a major blizzard, nothing happens. Like I grew up in Texas, in Dallas, a couple little drops of snow come down. Close the schools for the next 2 days. Like it was too much. Now in Florida, it never snows. It gets cold and everyone freaks out. So I could see how if you have a cold weather product, you are tied very much to the cold. And it's only going to get colder more in more places for the next 3 months. So I would be all about that. So, and it can change drastically daily with winter storms. Don't want to run out of money when there are huge sales, manage ACOS, and when demand is soft. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting conundrum. So one thing you could do for speed is if you don't yet know how to do bulk files, I would learn. And you could have 2 sets of bulk files. One bulk file for regular fall day, one for cold fall day. And you look at the weather forecast and you see there's a storm a brewing. There's a front coming in from Canada. Some sort of storm that's taking over most of the country, except for our little spot in Florida, which oftentimes happens. What you could do is then upload the cold weather one. And basically, when the weather storm subsides, once you start seeing demand going down, then you upload the other one. So that way you have ready to go at a moment's notice your bids. And then you can also adjust the bids. So like, okay, for when we go back down, I think these keywords aren't doing as well. So you could have that ready to go lower and then do the same thing and then alter it for the next time cold weather happens. So you could do that. Because I could see how that might be an issue. And you don't want to spend like, oh my gosh, I gotta spend an hour every time the cold comes. And then the cold goes away. And then it's like, oh, well, we got a cold weather storm people weren't expecting. So that would be my thought process. All right, next up, Mohammed says, should I go aggressive launch or normal? Please suggest do's and don'ts. What are your goals? What do you want to see out of this? So if you're saying aggressive is also in the eye of the beholder. So what is the potential for the product? If you are selling red crafting tape, which is I think what this is, versus tape measure. I would imagine tape measure, I don't know that for sure, but I would imagine tape measure has more demand than red crafting tape. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. So what is the potential, what is the juice you're trying to get from the squeeze? So how hard do you squeeze is how much juice is there potentially to get. Because if you have a little grape, trying to squeeze the juice out of that versus if you have like a watermelon, you're going to get two totally different amounts of juice coming out of it. So what is the demand for this product, and how aggressive do you want to go after it? And are you doing well initially? If you're doing fairly decently well, then maybe you want to be aggressive to keep things going, and start getting reviews and get yourself more established. So that would be my suggestion. A lot of times when people say the do's and the don'ts, what they're saying is, I'm nervous, which is totally normal. What if I don't get the sales? What if I spend all my money on ads? What if I don't have enough money to buy more product? Those are all very valid concerns. So you have to also say, what are your goals? And if you're okay with spending lots of money because you already have another order placed and you've already paid for it, or if you're like, hey, I have a really tight budget, you know what? Go tight on your budget. At the end of the day, don't bow before the altar of top line revenue all the time. You got to make some money on this as well. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it all? But initially, you're also investing your time and effort and your money because you don't yet know what's going to come out on that other side. But I would say if you're asking the question and you're not sure, rather than if super aggressive is not what you're looking to do, maybe what is just a little outside your comfort zone, start there. And then maybe you can go more aggressive or scale it back depending on how things look. Because unfortunately, we're all emotional too. Everything looks great in a spreadsheet until you start advertising. You're like, oh my gosh. And then, emotions kick in. All right. Do you provide a campaign analysis service? I'd love to have you critique my ads and provide suggestions. So for the record, I did not queue that up. That person asked that themselves, but let me share my screen here. So if you go to myamazonguy.com, share screen, entire screen, screen 2. All right. So if you are on our website, and it's already passed by. We have a carousel that scrolls through banners, but one is for a Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Quick, shameless plug for a webinar, masterclass, I should say, that Noah and I are facilitating next Tuesday. And so 1 week from today. So we won't be doing this live stream. We'll be doing that one instead. And that one you have to sign up for. So, there it is. BFCM Success Masterclass. Master the most profitable weekend of the year. So yeah, sign up for that. Now, back to the question of, do we have a service to provide campaign analysis? So if you go to services on myamazonguy.com, you can see we've got lots of services. One of which is the PPC. Yeah. So if you go under troubleshooting, PPC, advertising audit. I should probably have put the glasses on before I started looking at this. Yes, I am over 40, and that happens. If you're not there yet, you will get there. And your eyes, you're like, but I could see stuff before. Or you put on reading glasses, you're like, what on earth? They're working. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, total side note. If you go services, troubleshooting, underneath, you can see we've got PPC, advertising audit. We do have a service where our team will go through and it's very thorough. You could have our team go through and audit your ad campaigns, which you would just click that little button. It is a paid service. I know some people offer this for free, but our team goes in like big depth to do it. And you could get an advertising audit for $500. And if you think about it, like that, you guys are charging for that. Well, if you put in practice a couple of the recommendations that we talk about here right before the holidays, you could save tons of money and also make more money in sales and get that $500 back relatively quickly, even a relatively lower ad spend. So it could be definitely worth it. Now, I know a lot of times people will charge, or give that away for free, but they're just trying to get intel to decide whether or not to sell you. For us, like we have a team that's their job is to just go through, boom, 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 boom. If you want to work with us more afterwards, great. But it's not a pitch service. So, all right. Next up, the question from Maxathan: how to promote a low quantity item waterproof fishing bag at 30 to 40 pieces a month with approximately $40 margins. No, you have good margins. So you're basically trying to get sales. Now, ask yourself this question when you figure out the margin. Did you account for everything? 15% referral fee, cost of goods sold, FBA fee, inbound placement fee. Like, how much does it cost to ship it into Amazon? What is the, I forget the names of some of these fees, but like you pay to ship it to Amazon, which that's actually a really good rate. I want to give them props for that. But then they also want to charge you oftentimes if you don't send it to AWS, then they won't let you send it to AWS because AWS is full. You know, you're going to pay for all these fees is really what I'm getting to. So you pay to ship it into Amazon, you pay to have them receive it, you pay to do the storage fees, which are way more expensive in Q4. That price does come down in January, but you still get that big bill in January for your December storage. So that's always fun. Then you can also focus on, what's the word I'm looking for here? Potentially long-term storage fees. You know, so if you're doing 30 to 40 pieces a month, which I'm assuming this is based on sales history. So if you're currently doing 30, 40 units a month, you'll probably do at least 100 to 150 during the holidays. Because I would imagine that sounds like a good gift for dad, or a good gift for, you know, people that like fishing. But if you have $40 margins, is that truly $40 margins? If you take whatever your margin is, once you've factored in all those crazy costs along the way, you have any sort of prep fee, you're paying a center, do you have employees, did you factor in all that? And then divide that by your selling price. So if, let's just say it is a $40 margin and you're selling this for $100, only for pure ease of math, $40 divided by $100 is 40%. So you have 40% margins. So that means your break-even ACOS is 40%. Or your break-even tacos is 40%. So you want to just think through all of that. So hopefully that helps. Now, as far as how to promote the item, well, do you have a better main image? So make sure your main image is very clickable. Like, do you, like, if you go to search query performance report relative to your competitors, do you have a better click-through rate? If you do, great. Now work on conversion rate potentially. If you don't have a better click-through rate, some of it might be your price, because if you have $40 margin, you probably have decent price to this fishing bag. So all things to consider. All right. So next up, so actually better answer your question. Just make sure you run ads. Make sure you maybe do some brand tailored promotions, like retargeting people that have clicked on your ads, and go from there. So good luck. All right. Heisenberg POD. So Breaking Bad here. I'm an FBM seller. Breaking Bad was a TV show. I'm sure most people know that reference. But anyway, I never really watched the show, but I've seen enough YouTube clips that I feel like I know everything that happens in the show, or at least the main things. I'm an FBM seller using Amazon Marketing Cloud, and my audience creation keeps failing with the message, audience did not meet the minimum required size. Why is this happening? Privacy. So I don't know what the minimum size is. So maybe try a different, more broad audience. So maybe you're going very specific, or you just don't have enough data. So hopefully after the holidays, or at least, after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they let you, because maybe you have more clicks. There's a lot of people clicking around this week and next week, and then a lot of people shopping on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And, I know we all talk about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but for a lot of people, it's really the first couple of weeks of December are good. And then mid-December is like off the chart. So you still got more time. So I would say you want to maximize as much as you can those audiences, especially later into December, not late December, let's say mid-December. So just keep trying, and hopefully you get enough data to be sufficient. I love when they don't tell you, like you need more, whatever. It's just minimum size, which I guess that is a decent explanation, but it always feels like, they could give you more information. And I've not had that error before, so I have not seen it to know, like, okay, it says you must have an audience size of at least 100. Because like in Facebook, like if you want to advertise certain audiences, you got to have a certain audience size. So a lot of those advertisers, they won't, for audiences, for privacy purposes, you got to have more data to spread it out. It's kind of, I guess, what they're thinking. So on my Merch by Amazon ads account, which I'm not as familiar with that, my AMC audience creation fails with minimum required size not met. Why doesn't it work for MBA? You mean for FBA? Let me go back to that question before. Oh, so it fails both on Merch by Amazon as well as the other way. And then here it says, is AMC even compatible with Merch by Amazon? I'm not sure. Merch by Amazon is like where you create like graphics and then Amazon just sells it for you, like on t-shirts or whatever, print on demand. Or do I need a different setup to build audiences? You might just have to do that. And I do know that when you're talking about like Merch by Amazon and what's the other one? Handmade and some of those other things, they scale back some of the features. So that might be part of it. What marketplace are you in? Because not every marketplace gets every feature right away. Usually it goes to .com. All right. And then what else? Got a couple other questions, but I have run out of time. So with that, thank you, everybody. Minul Islam says Amazon PPC is on fire. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So with that, thank you, everybody, for joining us, and hope to see you back next week. Or no, we won't be next week. But next week, make sure to go to myamazonguy.com and then click on the little banner that I showed for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday masterclass, where Noah Wickham and myself will be showing you ways to maximize Black Friday, Cyber Monday at the last minute. Clock is ticking. We want to make sure you make this the best one ever. So with that, thank you, everybody, and have an awesome day. Take care.